Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday Show. This is Neil Long, and I hope you're feeling fairly well. In fact, I hope you're feeling very well. I hope you're feeling absolutely marvellous. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in. We should have a co-presenter today. Should be working with Scotty again. I'm looking forward to doing that. He should be here in just a moment, and then we'll chew the fat for the next hour. But do say hello. Do give us a hello. Say hello. How we doing? If you'd like a mention, I can say hello to you. Do I tell them this or not? Yeah. I'm trying to quit vaping. You see me vape probably an awful lot, probably ever since I've been doing this show. And it's a hell of a habit. But I kind of don't want to do it anymore. And I knew always one day I'd give up. I used to think it was an absolute godsend. And in a sense it was, because I used to smoke. And obviously that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea at all, smoking cigarettes, as we know. So I went on to vaping, which is a healthier alternative, one would think. And it must be better than smoking, I guess. But then, of course, big business got into it, and you see vapes everywhere. And now it's just a question of doing them in as many different flavors, which are all really sickly, actually, as you can, just to get people hooked, which is not a good idea. As a way of giving up smoking, I think it's a really good idea. But just to get hooked for the sake of getting hooked, not a good idea. And I know, I mean, the amount of vapors in the world now, it's just crazy ridiculous. And lots of kids as well, which is not a good thing, obviously. But I read the book Alan Carr's Easy Way to well, he's done loads actually. Alan Carr, I don't mean the comedian Alan Carr, not that brilliant comedian, and he is a brilliant comedian. The other Alan Carr, even though the comedian's got a very funny joke about him, he says next to his quit smoking book, he's going to, because obviously they'd be together in the library, and he's going to have one with his name, Alan Carr, saying, "Go on, have a fag," which is pretty funny. But Alan Carr, I mean, he's written loads. Easy Way, the whole brand is Easy Way. Let's have a look. The CT scans that my children see as doctors show that vapes cause damage to the lungs. Yeah, that's interesting, Graham. Is it all vapes? I don't think we know. Yeah, I don't. Oh, excuse me. I don't think there's enough research, really, to show the long-term effect of vaping. But I'd certainly be very happy to listen. I mean, for me as a given up smoking aid, it's not ideal, if you like. It's not an ideal thing. You know, taking anything into your lungs is not going to be ideal, but it's better. And it's probably better, in my opinion, to vape than smoke. But then, of course, when big business got into it, and I heard of carcinogenic substances being put in the vapes, well, that kind of defeated the object. And it made it all rather pointless. I mean, there's no point in vaping if you don't smoke anymore, and there's a point in taking methadone if you don't take heroin. Don't know. The issue is we don't know what's in all the oils and quantity of nicotine in them. Yeah, that's true. I think with some we do know the quantity. It depends. It depends if it's one of these dodgy imported ones. And we don't know what's put in them. Tesco do one called 10 Motives that I'll show you. And named as such because there's 10 motives to do it. Number one, doesn't smell of smoke. Number two, it's less harmful. And it's this. It's show and tell. It's this that you recharge, and this which is the refill to the recharge, and you put one end in, like I said. And I'm not going to demonstrate because I quit. But yeah, but after reading Easy Way is absolutely fascinating because Alan Carr was a 60 to 100 a day smoker, and that's an awful lot. And he tried quitting using, as he calls it, the willpower method, and that's the problem, because people think they're going to spend the rest of their life fighting this monster, this craving, this desire to smoke or desire to vape. But easy way gets around that, where you're just left with a very mild, almost imperceptible, ridiculously mild feeling of nicotine withdrawal, and it's a lot more mild than you might think. The craving comes from a mental process, which he calls the big monster. The little monster is a little nicotine withdrawal. The big monster is essentially wanting something, but you can't have it. But once you've broken down that mental process, then it becomes easy. And so far, I'm only on day one, it has been easy. Hello, Russ.
I just popped in because I wasn't sure if you had the wonderful Scott Lyons with you. You do have the wonderful Scott Lyons, so I can bugger off.
I do have the wonderful Scott Lyons.
There he is.
Stay where you are.
Scotty. Yes, I think the Super K Fat Scottie's got to go. Neil, I'm not going to crash your party. I'm going to go, but I'm going to try and put this onto all the different platforms that I can now that I can find the time to do it behind the scenes. Have a wonderful show. Hello, everybody.
Hello there.
Remember, think before you post. Don't want them kicking down your front door. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.
We've just been photobombed by Russ. Oh, no, he's disappeared. Hello.
Hello, mate. Okay.
Good morning, Scotty. How are you?
Oh, harassed.
Huh?
I'm harassed.
Harassed?
Yes.
What's up?
Well, I've been on air this morning, 10 till 12. That's a record the last half an hour. They got dragged into a meeting. That's overrun, so I had to run up 3 flights of stairs, and now I'm sweating like a BBC presenter. I'm not a happy man at the minute. I don't do exercise, so we'll get there.
Sweating like a BBC presenter.
Yes. And how's your week been? Week and weekend?
All right, thank you. Yeah, not bad at all. Can't believe we're halfway through the week already. It's got a comedy gig tonight in St Albans, which I'm looking forward to.
Have you? Oh, it's very nice in St Albans, very posh.
Yes, people say that. Not the bit I'm going to, but no. It's a very well-run room, which gets a nice lot of people in, which is very, very good. And he's had a dropout tonight, so I'm like, I'll jump in that. They're saying your sound's a bit low. Have you got any more volume there?
Oh, yeah, give me a second. Settings, audio. Let me know when it gets better, and I shall stop. That's going up to that's 200% of my audio. Let's move that across. Is that any better?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right then. Move the keyboard. I'm not in my usual home studio this morning, so I'm having to sort of do it hybrid.
Your voice is clear. It's still, we can hear every single background noise now. Like I say, if anything slightly moves, we can hear. Not that it matters. We're fine.
Brilliant.
So I was just talking about vaping, and have you ever smoked or vaped?
Never. My mum and dad used to smoke 40 odd a day for the best part of 50 years each. My dad stopped smoking in 2010 when he had a couple of strokes. Mum was forced to stop smoking back in, well, where are we? 2019 or 2020, just before COVID, because she had a lot of respiratory issues. And in all fairness, her health has never been so bad since she stopped smoking, which there's a distinct irony. I think once you've gone past the point of no return, I think any intervention to stop you from smoking or cut down, I think does it more harm than good. So it's
why is that, do you think?
I just think it's because your lungs and your respiratory system have been clogged with so much tar and noxious substances that to try and introduce natural fresh air and then pure oxygen from our oxygen supply, I think it's just the body's that far gone. It's like driving a classic car and then having the the piston seats redone into for unleaded. Some cars like it, some cars just don't ever run the same. And I think it's the same with Mum. My dad was okay, I think, because he must have stopped a good sort of 10, 12 years prior. But
Yeah.
I mean, she's got COPD, bronchiectasis, asthma, anything going that's fashionable. I think she tends to pick it up and runs with it.
Anything that's lung related.
Yeah, it is. It's now where she used to be very active. Prior to going into hospital and smoking, she's now down to using a walking stick, and any long distances she goes into a wheelchair, and she carries a portable oxygen bottle with her. So it's
Goodness.
it's look. The main thing is she's still with us. Bless her. She's still got a semblance of an active lifestyle. Still moans. God love her, but it's awful to see where she was to where she is in a relatively short space of time. But put her with me dad, and they're an absolute double act at the minute. They are driving me incessantly mad. But I wouldn't have them any other way. They're great.
Yes, they can do that as they get older, can't they?
No, yes, they can. They become very more challenging. You've got sort of my nephew is fantastic. He just goes off at 500 miles an hour. Put him in the same room as we did last night with my mum and dad. It was like, oh my god, just let me go home. Can't cope with this anymore.
You need a holiday to get over that, I think.
Oh, do you know what? I come to work just to sort of de-stress and unwind. So it's been, yeah, it's a challenge. But look, there's folk worse off in the world than they are. So it's you take each day as it comes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're talking about quitting vaping. Have you heard of the Easy Way series? Alan Carr.
I haven't, and I have a very much a love-hate relationship with vaping.
Go on, tell me why.
There's two parts to this. There's the so-called health benefits of vaping, and then there is the byproduct of vaping, i.e. the plumes of smoke that look like it's just come off the back of the mallard, and then you've got the rubbish from these vapes, because all you ever see of a night time around where we are in the West Midlands, these little blue lights everywhere, and then I thought it was Christmas, but it's the vapes, the actual electronic vapes, which are being discarded, which then means that the lithium batteries inside the vapes themselves then get into either watercourses or wildlife get hold of them, and they just don't biodegrade, and it causes absolute chaos. So,
well, the government were thinking of banning them, weren't they?
They still are, and it's a difficult one. Anything that's going to take people away from an addiction, from nicotine addiction, because I think a lot of people underestimate how difficult an addiction it is to manage when you're smoking. They're just, so these campaigns, the NHS, just stop smoking, quit smoking. We'll give you some chewing gum and some patches and you'll be fine. And it don't work like that. And as I say, when my mum had to stop smoking, she tried a vape, couldn't get on with it, didn't like it, so she just went hardball cold turkey, and now she said, I don't know why I didn't do this sort of 30, 40 years ago, but that was a fashion. I'm not sure how the government's going to get on with banning vapes. They were, ironically, one of the agencies who were dead set of having an alternative to smoking. So they were also behind the idea of vapes taking out the smoking from people's lives and sort of weaning yourself down. But it's also, I mean, I've never smoked, but my mum tells me, she says, I had a vape, which is the handheld, looked like a gun handle. She said you can buy the e-cigarettes because it was the physical activity of holding a cigarette. So if you're physically holding a cigarette like that all day, and it's that action, so that's the action I miss. So if I can't do that because I'm nothing to occupy my hand with, then I'm not going to sit there holding something like a gun handle or an umbrella handle. It's just not natural. So she went knocking on the head. How do you think the government would get on with trying to ban these vapes? Would it work?
I guess. I think you'd have them on the black market, which is normally what happens when things get banned, isn't it? I mean, I thought personally on paper it was a good idea to stop people smoking, because it couldn't have been. It wasn't ideal, but it was better. It was much better.
Yeah.
About 80% better, without much long-term research, but they figured it was about 80% better. And I could believe that. So again, not ideal, but better. That'll do. But then, of course, the big companies, and including Big Tobacco, ironically, got in on the scene, and the market's just flooded with all these vapes. Let's get the kids hooked. So we got watermelon flavour and cotton candy flavour and popcorn flavour, gummy bear flavour I saw the other day, for goodness sake. And it's just about getting as many people hooked on nicotine as possible, which is a shame if you weren't smoking in the first place. So it sort of defeated the object for me, if you like.
It does, and I think this, with everything they've tried to do to encourage people to stop smoking, I think with the plethora of flavours, and I think you can customise your vape, your actual your machine, your utility, the vape itself. You can buy coils, you can buy handles, you can buy the actual spouts on them that you draw from the top of the vapes.
Oh, I know, it's a real art form.
It's crazy, and there's a guy I work with, and he's constantly, you'll know when he's here because you'll just see this plume of smoke coming up 3 floors, like Thomas the Tank Engine. You'll see he's arrived, and you can, Vimto today, is it, mate? Yeah, well done, fantastic. And he's just like, well, it's encouraged people who don't smoke to now become vapors because it's fashionable to vape and also to use the flavours and the customisation that you've got.
And that's exactly what the people wanted when they flooded the market with it.
It's great, of course it is. It's like with anything when the soft drink manufacturers decide to go with cherry flavours and diet flavours and vanilla flavours. You're still buying the brand, but you're buying just a different flavour and connotation of the brand itself. And I think this is where the government, if they're not already looking at it, is to attack the aesthetic side of vaping rather than the actual the concept of it, which is to minimise. I mean, Graham Pack has just put on there, something I've just noticed on YouTube, how many times do you see patients outside a hospital attached to a drip smoking away under the sign that says no smoking in the hospital grounds? I mean, I see this most days when I take my parents to hospital appointments, and it's considering that these hospital grounds are supposed to be no smoking areas. The patients are there, the staff are there. Now, if the staff can't abide by the hospital's policies and they're not undertaking the NHS's own stop smoking or minimise smoking campaigns, how on earth are you supposed to get people who are patients to follow suit when you're providing an area for them to smoke? And it's crazy. But these, I'm dead set against the vapes. We have a shop that's next door to my house. I literally go out my front door, turn left, and it's there, which is a nightmare because my wife could just send me out with a, off you go and fetch me a bottle of milk or a bar of chocolate. But in these shops, there is literally a big Perspex cabinet that sits just to the side of the till. So the first person you see is the shopkeeper. To the left of him and behind him is an entire wall and a cabinet full of these flavours. Now, outside the shop, there's other little stickies, the hygiene stickers off the top of the vapes, so you can take them off the bottles. They're stuck everywhere. It's a scourge, and I think the irony in all this, Graham's just said in a few years' time, doctors will prescribe cigarettes to help you wean yourself off the vapes. I mean, I don't know what the strength of some of these vape fluids are, or what the concentration of nicotine is in there. But it'll be like
20 milligrams in Elf bars. I used to vape Elf bars quite a lot. 20 milligrams.
Wow. How does that compare to the chewing gum and the patches? Let me see if I can find.
I think the patches were 20, weren't they? Or were they 15?
They're not far off it. They were similar to it, yeah. I'm just going to...
Yeah. And that's delivered... But the patches, they're transdermal, aren't they? So that'd be... But back to the Easy Way. Yeah, look that up. Back to Easy Way, Alan Carr. The
Easy Way.
Clever thing... The clever thing about it is it kind of deprograms your mind for every single reason you ever thought was good about vaping. In other words, it does something for you. It's a crutch. It helps you relax. It helps you concentrate. It helps you lose weight. Some people think it's a cool thing to do. None of these things are true any more than imbibing any kind of poison would do any of those things. And it's sort of, he's saying basically, look, tell me a food, Scotty, that you don't like, that you would never eat no matter what.
I absolutely detest mayonnaise. Awful stuff. Food of the devil.
Okay, does it bother you that you can't have any mayonnaise?
No.
Do you want any mayonnaise?
No.
Okay. And that's the effect. That's what it becomes like with nicotine.
Plus, it's the same type of desire you get when you go on a diet and you say, well, you shouldn't be eating chocolate, you shouldn't be eating pork scratchings, you shouldn't be doing this. As soon as you tell somebody you can't have it, straight away that you pull the shutters down, then that's the time that they really want it even more. And I'm just...
He says that it's 99% physical. No, I'm sorry, 1% physical, 99% mental, and the 1% is just the physical nicotine withdrawal. He says, which is, according to him, ridiculously mild.
Well, the patch, just looked up on there. There's one of the mainstream branded patches has got 25 milligrams of nicotine in them.
Right.
Which then, if I go on to, I'm just going to have a look at a brand of cigarettes and see what they have got in them. So that's interesting. A pack of 20 cigarettes contains 12 to 14 milligrams of nicotine.
All right.
In one of the the gold / red and white branded cigarettes, which
that one,
which is almost half of what's in the vapes and in the nicotine patches. 11 to 14 milligrams. I'm not sure in what concentration that will be, or how many milliliters of or grams of cigarette or tobacco it is. But it just seems mad that you've got a concentration for an artificial substitute that's stronger for the addiction that you've already got. Now, is that because there's other nasties that are hidden? I think is it tar that's in cigarette is the main constituent that causes.
My justification for vaping was that it's better than smoking, so I figured that I'll keep the nicotine. You keep the nicotine addiction, that's fine. Yeah. That's one thing, but you lose all the bad stuff, all the tar, all the carcin, or the vast majority of all the carcinogenic stuff. So it seemed like a good idea as a giving up smoking aid, not just getting people hooked for the sake of it, if you know what I mean.
I do, and see, I've always got this. And I had this conversation with Mum about it. I said, look, why do you keep smoking? She said, well, I like doing it. I was brought up doing it. And the classic line is, I don't do anything else. I don't go out anywhere. I don't spend money on frivolous spending. I used to just buy my cigarettes, and that was my one vice in life. And you go, okay.
Who says that?
This is what my mum used to tell me. So I
right.
say, well, Mum, why? Yeah, because bearing in mind, you can imagine 40 cigarettes a day. That's 80 cigarettes a day between two parents with me in the household. This is in the 80s. So you'd walk in with a cloud of smoke, and there's a lot of these memes on Instagram. Is how kids used to live by the skin of their teeth in the 80s when you've got somebody who's got a lit cigarette waved in a kid's face when they're trying to blow the candles out on their birthday cake. So the passive smoking, the amount of passive smoking I must have done in my childhood doesn't even bear thinking about, and the damage that could or couldn't do to my health. I mean, nobody's ever said to me that there's been any tangible harm done to me, so I should just carry on doing what I'm doing. I'm a bit croaky every now and again, but I think we get that as you get older. Well, it was an interesting way to look at it, that she doesn't spend money on any other vices, or doesn't go out night clubbing, or doesn't go down the pub, but happy to spend all that money on cigarettes. Now,
yes, people will use all sorts of reasons to justify their addiction, which is what it is. Addiction is a really weird, insidious trap. It's not. It doesn't mean there's anything. Obviously, we're talking about your mum. There's nothing wrong with the person.
No.
It's just a trap. It's just a trap they've fallen into. And he actually mentions that in the book. It's you got to have one vice. Might as well be this one. You know, that's one excuse, I suppose, or reason that people do it. But when you really think about it, it's putting poison in your body. Why would you do that?
It's great marketing. That's all it is.
Why would you put? You wouldn't have a delicious meal and then think, I'll just pop some poison in my body. I'll just drink some cyanide. You wouldn't finish making love and then think, what shall I do? Oh, I'll have a special look of poison. You know what I mean?
I do.
Post-coital poison. You just wouldn't do it, would you? Graham, smoke and cigarettes can cause issues to people around you. People could get lung disease from secondary smoke. That's true.
Yeah.
I wonder if the same is with smoke from vapes. I don't think so, Graham, because I saw a Michael Mosley documentary. He did an experiment on vaping and smoking. And this was a while ago, I think, before the market was flooded with all these zillions of imports and all these strange iterations of things. But vaping, he established there wasn't really any such thing as passive vaping because the particulates are too small. So, no, I don't, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'm just looking at, I'm using an American search engine as is because of where we work, and I'm looking at a national health organisation's website, and they just put key facts at the top. Passive smoking and vapor can damage health for anyone who breathes it in. Passive smoking from vaping, this is it. So vapes contain harmful chemicals similar to those found in cigarettes. So to reduce the risk, quit smoking or vaping, help others to quit, etc., etc. So from what they're saying is that there are some tangible risks, but probably they're not as bad as traditional smoking because of the amount of carcinogenic ingredients in the cigarette smoke. But there is some suggestion on here that vaping still does have, because essentially it's a chemical, so they.
But what are they doing? Putting noxious chemicals in it? That this is what they shouldn't be doing. If it had remained a giving up smoking aid, you'd put as few chemicals in it as possible. I mean, this one, as far as I know, has only got a polyphenol, water, and nicotine. That's it.
What's actually nicotine though? What's its constructive parts? Nicotine.
Shall we have a look?
I'm just going to have a look.
Let me have a quick look.
This is where we end up going down sort of different rabbit holes. So you've got nicotine is a highly addictive substance that is naturally present in the tobacco plant. It's also found in some e-cigarette liquids. That's right. So you got.
Well, it's an alkaloid. It's produced in the nightshade family of plants, and recreationally used as a stimulant and anxiolytic, whatever that is.
Anxiolytic, yeah. By the sounds of it, if it's coming from the nightshade family of plants, then it's not going to do you any good.
It's also used for smoking cessation. But this is the irony. This is what he talks about in the Easy Way book. It doesn't help you quit smoking. It causes the craving.
Yeah.
It causes it. It's the cause of it.
See, vaping as a substitute is not a new phenomenon, because if you go back, my mum's mum, my nan, she was a massive snuff user. She used to use snuff. She would buy, there was a little blue tins called SP number 1. Now this snuff, she used to call it a brain powder, because she'd have a little pinch of snuff. I mean, a pin. She was dead old fashioned. Always wore a pinny. Always wore a house coat doing her cleaning, and you would see where the snuff had sort of trickled down from her fingers onto there. And as soon as she'd taken a pinch of this snuff, it was like, wow, here we go then, boys and girls. And she was literally off like a whirling dervish around the house doing the cleaning. So having these so-called substitutes for smoking, because it had in fact, this is me going back and having a look what's in there. SP number 1, snuff, or the snuff and...
Oh, yeah, I'd love to know what's in there.
I dare say.
Nicotine's chemical composition, C10H14N2, by the way.
Yeah, that sounds good enough. The more letters that's in it, then the more wary I am of it. See, I can't. We've got a filter on there.
It's an unusual alkaloid that has 2 nitrogen-containing heterocycles, pyridine and pyrrolidine, apparently. Well, I never knew this about nicotine. What else could we look up about it to find out about it?
Snuff dates. Apparently, snuff dates back to the 17th century, which is why there were a lot of historically and on these antique shows. You'll see these 17th, 18th, and 19th century snuff boxes, which are like little matchbox-sized things. Particular aroma and the taste of fermented tobaccos created by the fine mixture is unparalleled. So they obviously take a number. It's like a blended tea bags. I think they'll blend a number of different tobacco substances into their blend, and then they will. It's there for you to pinch, and it's. By the looks of it, it's quite a moist substance. There's that word again. Oof.
What substance?
So help you be able to sort of sniff it easier rather than it being in a dust form and going all over the place, which is a party for.
So what was in stuff that made her turn into Mrs. Doubtfire?
I think it was more the concentration, and because with a cigarette you've got the tobacco itself or the rolled tobacco, so you're physically smoking this over a period of time. I mean, my mum could inhale a cigarette in 5 or 6 drags and be done with, bless her. But I would expect it is a similar kick to taking any drug that's ingested through the nasal passage. It gets into your bloodstream much quicker and therefore creates an immediate buzz that goes.
So is snuff a drug?
Well, it's got nicotine in, so it's blended from different tobaccos, therefore contains nicotines of different origins, which then in turn, in fact, let me use my own laptop, see if I can get it better off there. Apologies to see the side of my head.
No, you're right.
Snuff content. In fact, just be careful using the word snuff content in case I end up on some very dodgy websites.
Yes, I've just realised the other meaning of that, yes.
Yes. Snuff is a type of smokeless tobacco product made from finely ground or pulverised tobacco leaves. It's snorted or sniffed into the nasal cavity, delivering nicotine and a flavoured scent to the user. Especially if flavouring has been blended with the tobacco, and traditionally it's sniffed or inhaled lightly after a pinch of snuff is either placed onto the back surface of the hand, held in the pinched fingers, and it looks as though, because of its concentration and the way in which it's ingested, that it gets into the bloodstream quicker. Now, here's an interesting one. The health effects. Various national and international health organisations, like the World Health Organisation, stating that even if it is less dangerous than smoking, using snuff is addictive, presents a major health risk, and has no safe level use, and is not a safe substitute for smoking. So there's. Snuff is also attributed to forms of oral cancer, esophagus cancer, and pancreatic cancer.
Yes, I just saw that. Lovely.
Wow. Lovely, isn't it? So I would probably surmise from that whatever substitute that you are using for a smoking addiction, the substitution and the reduction in risk is fairly minimal, really. Which is
I wonder what people were doing. I wonder what people were doing before that, because people have been ingesting things. So before your grandmother's era, go back another one. Wonder what they were doing then.
They would either be smoking or I'd see the thing. One thing I never asked my nan, and this I'm gonna have to ask my mum later now. Where did she get snuff from? Why did she start using it? I remember every now and again seeing her at Christmas. She'd have the odd cigarette, socially, and that was only the odd cigarette when people had come round.
Yeah.
She was her go-to was always a snuff, and all of her children, my mum, my aunties, my uncles, probably go to the other extreme for those who do smoke, is that my mum's elder sister smoked Park Drive, the filterless cigarettes, and she used to smoke 40 to 50 of those a day.
Wow.
They are hard. They're in the same as your senior service and your Woodbine territory. They are some.
I'm going to a French school trip,
Oh,
college
yes.
trip of the day, and we're all like excited. Oh, cheap duty-free cigarettes! Like, and I bought 200. Was it Gauloises? Because they were cheap. Oh God, they were awful. They were
Yeah.
awful.
What was
I had
what
to
was the
flog
other
them
one?
to my English teacher. I had to flog my English teacher. Gave me £3 for them.
What was the other
You
ones? The
could do
blue and
that
white
kind of shit in
ones.
college.
Was it Giton the other one, or Citon? The blue and white
There was
ones.
Gauloises and Giton.
That's it. Because you always used to see the Giton ones advertising these at the cinema when I was much younger, because it was always when you'd have these the film noir evenings. Then the French had obviously cottoned on that the British wanted to appear sophisticated, so smoking French cigarettes instead of Park Drive or Embassy Number 1 was probably going to be much more attractive to the opposite sex. Yeah. I can
Now,
see how that
where
works.
did we ever believe that? There's another myth. We've all been brainwashed. When would he make you attractive to the opposite sex?
I think it was the perception that smoking and then that air of sort of mystery and just sitting there with a yes, like, and it's just, well,
It is French and it is classy,
yes.
and it is exotic and romantic. No, it's not. It's poison.
It's like that. You would. I don't think that make if rat poisoning was ever smoked. I don't think people would think that was particularly fashionable.
But that's the thing. If it was rat poison, but it was caramel flavoured, would people eat it?
Well, take was it spice? Now they've got on Black Mamba these two next step smoking drugs that you've got.
Ah,
there's a
spice. Now, spice used to be a so-called legal high,
yeah, that's right.
but it's now illegal, and with good reason. It's supposed to be a synthetic alternative to cannabis. Now, I'm not condoning taking drugs on this show, but I think, on balance, you'd be better off taking real cannabis than you would spice. It's deadly.
Yeah.
It will absolutely turn you into a zombie.
Oh, that's from the synthetic cannabinoids family, isn't it? Class of designer drugs. Because there was a massive spate of spice and Black Mamba deaths here in the Midlands. Nice place to come if you want to go away for the weekend. And there was a BBC. I think it was BBC Three. They did the drugs map of the UK, and they came to Wolverhampton and Stoke-on-Trent, I think, to look at how spice and Black Mamba had affected people's lifestyle, what they'd lost, and you'd seen the before and after, and literally inside a month.
Oh, that's interesting.
Going from somebody who's looking as rotund as I am to somebody who'd been on spice for a month, were literally skeletal. They look absolutely awful. And joking aside, I mean, you know, people, as we've seen now with these fashionable sorts of diet injections you could supposedly buy to lose weight quickly by having these injections which just suppress the appetite. People say smoke spice, put it inside your cigarettes and just your rolling tobacco, and this will help with your weight reduction. It'll matter with the weight reduction, but it'll also rip the fat off your body, turn you into a zombie, and put you on the doorstep of death.
Hang on a minute. Are some people actually advising taking spice as a weight loss aid?
That was one of the so-called benefits many moons ago when it was, you say, when it was a legal designer high. That was one of the byproducts of taking it. It wasn't take this and you'll lose weight. It's I would put it on par with some of these injectable drugs where you say, right, you can lose weight by injecting this into your body. It doesn't work like that, and neither does it by smoking something that's, you know, really bad for you. It's then again, is from a bloke who just constantly eats all the time, doesn't worry about his blood pressure, his weight, and he's supposedly borderline diabetic. You know, who am I to argue what people are eating? Or
I don't think taking spice is the answer. I really don't.
No, it's not. As much as it might. Graham Packer still get high from sniffing my Old Spice. Yeah.
Wasn't that a rather bitchy name for Jerry Halliwell and the Spice Girls? You had Posh Spice, Baby Spice, and Jerry Halliwell was Old Spice. Do you remember that?
That's one of the reasons. That's probably one of the reasons why she's decided to duck out at the Spice Girls reunion. Then, allegedly.
You reckon?
Well, there's still that rift within the Spice Girls, isn't there? That Jerry Horner, as she's now, to use a married name, has.
I thought it was Posh Spice that ducked out.
No, they've got there's 2 rifts. So last night was a pause.
Oh, there's only 5 of them. How many rifts can you get?
Well, this is it. We just poured on Mel C on the stage on her own singing Northern Star, I think. But I just find that it's very, very strange. But yeah, Old Spice. I used to see that my granddad used to use. Blue Stratos was another one, aftershave. Wow.
I remember the advert for Old Spice. Ba, 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 ba,
And the man on the surfboard.
yeah. You remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I forget the actor's name, but he was always, we'll go out and I'll look like him. I can surf down the canal in Birmingham. That'll be fine. Yeah, of course.
But that's the thing, though. People, that's advertising. You think,
Yes.
you will get power. You'll become a surfer. You'll have this prowess if you use this. This is how they hook you with nicotine. They make it look what's the word? I've completely lost the word. Stylish. It gives you panache. It gives you style and flair and debonair and all that sort of thing. Stylish.
There's the one thing that I also thought about this is the tobacco companies have been paying the British government over the years billions upon billions of pounds in tax, and now, which has clearly had a benefit to the economy. Now that they're starting to rein back in on these tobacco companies, does that mean they'll get a reduction in taxes? Less tax will be taken.
I wonder.
Could they say, well, you've been saying to us for years that we'll take the tax off and you will take your income for the economy. Now you're saying our product is no good for the economy, for the British people. We'd like a rebate. Can we have some of our tax back then, if it's that bad? Where are your scruples and your morals? If we're so bad, you don't want our money and you'd like to hand back some of the money that you've taken already.
Well, it is bad, and big tobacco have lied. You know, the amount of deaths that tobacco have caused by peddling this stuff, just by getting people dependent on it. I mean, when you really stop and think about it, my mind is very fresh because I've just read Easy Way, and it breaks down all these things, and it's just when you look at it that way, it's crazy. Take alcohol. That's marketed, feel bad, have a drink. Feel good, have a drink. Get a job, have a drink. Lose a job, have a drink. Get a girlfriend, have a drink. Lose a girlfriend, have a drink. It's alcohol is weaved into the very fabric of society. And yet it causes so much damage. And yet, and here's the word I wanted before, it's marketed as glamorous and sexy and fun. When actually it's diluted ethanol, and it's a dangerous drug that kills millions of people, including a friend of mine.
Well, you look at we look at some of the brands that you see the notorious brands of those like Absinthe. Which was always don't drink that, you'll go blind, which you probably will.
Absinthe. Oh God, I tried that once. Silly mistake.
I don't think the roof of my mouth has recovered ever. But then you look at some of these
permanent damage.
Yeah, some of these vodkas though. You can now get 40, 50, 60% proof vodka and gin that are easily purchased from your local supermarket. They're no more better for you than absinthe is.
No,
but
60%. We're talking ethanol alcohol. That's not good.
Well, there's a white rum called Ray and Nephew, which a lot of the West Indian community drink. The 2 guys I hang out with, and straight away you go out with them for the night. Ray and Nephew, bang, put it on the tongue. Oh Jesus!
Oh, the West Indian community love rum, don't they?
But this Ray and Nephew is next level. I think this stuff is nearly 70%.
Whoa.
This thing, it is. It's almost like a syrup. It's like dynamite in a bottle. But they drink gallons of the stuff. It's absolutely unbelievable. Can't believe it. Look at it. Graham Paxton said, no wonder it's called the Black Country where I live, with the amount of smoke going in the air just from Scotty's family. Oh, mate. We look like, they thought it was the local They thought it was the local factory. It's not. It was our house. Mum and dad out in the back garden. That's when they used to go in the back garden.
Do you know some friends of mine lived in the Black Country, and I don't mean this in any way offensively, but I couldn't understand them.
You can't?
I literally couldn't. The Brummie accent, the West Midlands, the Midlands accent, absolutely fine. But Black Country, I couldn't understand it. Literally, I needed some. I knew it was English. I could hear English, but I couldn't understand the words.
My auntie and uncle still live in deepest, darkest Dudley. And on the odd occasion when I do see them, when they come over, special occasions, I cannot understand a word that they say, because they are literally, they live in that pocket in the real black country, not the artificial black country of Wolverhampton, Walsall, and the outskirts. And I have to sort of hone into what they're saying. I'll actually say, look, slow down, what do you mean? Then they have to rephrase it so I understand what's going on. But Liz was saying, when Liz Saul used to live in the black country in, oh Lord, where did she live? Was it...
that was Cradley Heath.
Cradley Heath, yeah, that's right. So you got Cradley Heath, Old Hill, Hayden Hill, and Halesoe in that other pocket in the bottom of the black country there.
All that. Yeah, I mean, I used to go up there and stay with her, so I know those places, or I know of those places certainly.
It's crazy, but the dialect in the black country. And I mean, you look at the West Midlands as a whole now. I mean, you've got a lot of the West Indian community who still speak a lot of Patwa. You have a conversation between somebody who's talking Patwa and the black country dialect, I'll pull the shutters down. I can't.
What is Patwa again? I know the term, but I haven't heard it for a while.
It is a hybrid English Jamaican, I'd like to say, dialect. In fact, it says here, I'd like to misquote it. Let's have a look. It says here, Jamaican Patois, and it's spelled Patois, not the way I was told it, is locally rendered Patois and called Jamaican Creole by linguists as an English-based Creole language with West African, Irish, Scots, Gaelic, Spanish, Hindustani, Portuguese, but spoken primarily in Jamaica amongst the Jamaican community. And it's words or slang from Jamaican Patois, so it's almost like it's a hybrid language with insiders inside their demographic, but it was it used to tend to pick up on a few words. My best mate, was from Jamaican descent, and his dad was just wonderful pops. He was such a laugh, but he would literally start off talking normally, forget who you were, and they would launch into this whole Patois, and you think, oh my God, I've lost him completely. Yeah.
And did you find it easy to follow or not?
Eventually, because there were certain key phrases that you pick up on that you could use universally. You would almost.
What's easier, Black Country or Patois?
I would say Patois, because because Black Country. Let's take you say the word can't is core. COR, so that's core.
Core.
Yeah. Yo call by Jeff, so that's you can't beat death. Yo call bait Jeff, so that's you can't beat death. That's when we used to watch the Final Destination films. Straight away, my auntie was watching you call beat Jeff.
You call beat Jeff.
Can't beat Jeff. That's it. And you try to keep up with that level, but the Patois was easier because it was all syllables. So it was almost like rhyming. It had a rhythm to it, so you could understand what it was going.
Mm.
What I've noticed is a sickly sweet smell when you walk around from people smoking weed. Oh wow, there's the next one. Welcome to the Midlands, Graham. That's
Oh, we get that an awful lot in London. I mean, I'm not particularly bothered by it. What's your thoughts on weed? Do you think it should be legalised like it is in Canada? What's your thoughts?
I would like to see, for medicinal purposes, it to be available to those people where there has been proven health benefits. So if you have chronic illnesses, or you can have not necessarily smoking cannabis, but if there's a stronger version of these CBD deals or something that's going to help a tangible benefit to somebody's health, then it should be available and it should be prescribed. I don't think having a complete open door policy to it would work over here, because then you're going to end up with a massive problem with people ingesting it and then being stuck in their system for up to 8 weeks, because there's a problem. You have people going from England to Amsterdam, smoking cannabis over there, eating these fantastic brownies, coming back into the country, then being stopped for drug driving because you underestimate how long it's going to be in your system. So if we're going to allow that, then we either have to relax the laws on drug driving, which I wouldn't like to see, or you've got to massively educate people on the consequences of what you're going to do. I don't think being able to having an open house on weed or cannabis is the answer for me. But then again, I've never taken drugs. I've done poppers. I used to have a lot of when I was a kid. Poppers were great.
Oh, poppers.
Yes.
I remember those.
They were just wonderful.
Yeah, me too. You get this incredible high for it. It used to amyl nitrate, wasn't it?
Yeah. And there was it Suede went one bit to call it did the song Animal Nitrate, was it?
So that was it. Suede had that song, Animal Nitrate, yeah.
Animal Nitrate, yeah. And this is back in the 90s when I was doing a lot of sort of club DJing off the back of the radio work. And so, of course, you'd either leave... These are the days when you had a booth. So you're in a glass box.
That's it.
You, glass box, the kit, and a fan. And you just leave the little bottle. It was like a vape bottle, in fact. Leave this bottle on the side, leave it open, the aromas, and just to fill the box. Or if you really sort of go, you have a quick toot up the old nasal passages.
I know you were meant to let it diffuse into the room, but I used to...
Straight up the nose.
Yeah.
Did you burn your nostrils?
It's legal.
Yeah,
it's pardon?
It's what you can still get it now. It's still legal.
It's still legal. You can buy it from sex shops, don't you?
You can buy it from anywhere. There's the shops in Wolverhampton where I am. They sell them on the counters.
But how can that be legal and cannabis not? Because it's much stronger.
I honestly don't know. That's territory I don't really know much about.
Well, here's what puzzles me. David Nutt. He was. You heard of him?
Yes.
The scientist. He was commissioned by the government to find out the most dangerous drugs and to work out. Did we have this conversation last time you were on? Because I don't want to bore you.
No? I don't think we did. We skirted
he was commissioned by the government to find out how dangerous drugs would be, and to find out the relative harms of the drug to the individual and to the wider society. So, for example, if you got drunk, it might damage your liver, but you also might drink drive and it might damage other people. So taking in all those metrics. And alcohol came out number one, and yet that's sanctioned and legal. And cannabis came out only at 20%. Alcohol scored 100, cannabis only 20. So cannabis is 5 times less, according to this guy. Government didn't like what they heard, they fired him. But cannabis is 5 times less harmful than alcohol. 5 times. And yet, this is where I get a bit confused. If I went to the school gate, let's say I had a small child, otherwise I've got no business being at a school gate. But in this hypothetical example, I'm at the school gate to pick up my child, and I say to a fellow mum, "Oh, wine o'clock, I can't wait." She'd probably go, "Yeah, nice one," and agree with me. But if I said I'm going home for a spliff, and yet I'm talking about something that's 5 times less damaging, help me understand that.
I get it, and guys I know who've worked in Amsterdam, they've just said, look, the whole attitude towards cannabis is once it's readily available, it doesn't become the novelty that everybody thinks it is, because it's easy to get. There's no competition on sales. Drug dealing literally within inside the first year plummeted because the drug dealers hadn't got corner of the market on it. And then straight away, because it was being, because of how the market was being done, and the concentration levels and the types of cannabis that you were getting in various areas, it has to be graded based on the strength of what it is. So you're going from beginner's level to completely off your head. And again, the benefits that they've seen over in the Netherlands now, as they call it, rather than Holland, is that literally within the first 12 months, the drug industry, the black market drug industry that we have over here, plummeted.
See, this is what I think would happen as well. I think it would take it out of the hands of the gangs. I think it could be taxed. It would be a lot safer to take because it would be regulated. And I personally, and this is my opinion, not necessarily reflecting the opinions of the Midday Show, I would legalise it tomorrow, cannabis. I really would. And plus, I know people that just relax with a bit of weed at night. I don't want to criminalise those people. They're not criminals. You know?
Can you imagine the advertising campaigns then? if the Old Spice man on a surfboard looks full of panache.
He'd be like,
cool.
I want to go surfing, but I can't be bothered.
Do you know what, we ought to trial this?
Sorry?
We ought to trial this on one of the midday shows. We'll do in the interest of scientific experimentation.
What, get stoned and do it?
Yeah. You get stoned. I'll do it as.
Oh, I'm the one that has to get stoned.
Yeah. You've done smoking.
What makes you think I'm not already?
I couldn't either confirm or deny I do or don't know you do. But can you imagine? Mind you saying that all of these people, these big, David Lee Travis, Tarrant. Can you imagine if these huge celebrity radio presenters who smoke waking great big cigars were taking a joint into the studio? If cannabis was legalised 20, 30 years ago, can you imagine the kind of content that would bring?
It would have been brilliant. It would have been priceless to listen to. You imagine Derek and Clive on cannabis.
Oh, mate. That is... I know there was... There's been programs on the TV before where they've got, in the interest of scientific experimentation, they've got people to take cannabis and they've got them to... I think there was one on Channel 4 where there was cannabis, cocaine and alcohol on a racetrack, and they got this... they contained it. And it was all controlled experiments to various levels of ingesting these substances and got them to drive to see the effects. And like you said, I think alcohol was the first one that came out as the worst possible scenario.
It was.
And the other two, although now you get drug wiped when you get stopped, as well as drink, as well as breathalyzed, were far less. Not I'm saying that they weren't bad enough, but they were far less.
Well, this was the surprising thing by this research by David Nutt, because alcohol came out number one, and yet that's legal. It came out as worse than, I know this might sound, I'm not saying these other drugs are good, I'm just saying it came out worse than meth, heroin, cocaine, but way down the list was cannabis.
Graham Paxton's put on there the amount of patients in the psychiatric wards and secure centres that the children have seen from the effects of so-called soft drugs would surprise you. Graham, he wouldn't. It really wouldn't.
It wouldn't surprise me too. But again, would education, Graham, stop this? I mean, if someone doesn't know what they're doing and they're taking what they consider to be a soft drug, if people think cannabis is a soft drug, they're going to take maybe too much of it. And on a developing brain, that would be really dangerous. But if there was education and a ban on age, you're not allowed to take it before you're 18, 21 or whatever, and education about it so you know what you're imbibing, I would say there'd be a lot less cases. But when you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what's in it, you don't understand the drug, and you're just randomly taking it to see what happens or to hope for the best, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all, Graham. Oh, here we go. Pete and Dud rehearsed Derek and Clive in their brother-in-law's house. His uncle's daddy was accountant. His aunt was somewhat shocked by it. Yeah, jump, you fucker, jump. I'm not surprised. There was no blanket.
Can you imagine their face? Oh, dear aunt. Jeez,
very interesting show, guys. Thank you. I wouldn't mind getting a sort of medical weed expert on, actually, and really drilling down on it and finding out about it. Think that'd be a good idea?
I think it'd be brilliant. Sorry, Julie Voice, hello to you. Sorry, I missed that earlier on, Julie. I hope your mum's okay.
Oh, did we? Julie, we're so sorry. Sending extra love to Julie right now.
In fact, I wonder if they do that kind of thing to the Bowls Club. We'll have to find it. In fact, we'll take the midday show to Julie's mum's Bowls Club.
What,
and get a number of choice chemicals, and they can just take their pick.
It would be pretty funny, I must admit. Scotty, it's been lovely. Do you want to do this again at some point?
Oh, yes, please, Neil. It's been an absolute blast, mate. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thoroughly enjoyed working with you. Just to let you know, folks, Russ and the team are going to be back on Friday with Jonathan Baz, with Chantal Ricard, Screen Queen, and, of course, the inimitable hat-wearing Phil Dave, and, of course, the legend that is Russ Kane. Scott Lyons, thank you so much. Just where can people find you if they want to look you up?
No, find me on Instagram at Fat Scottie. I was on that X platform, but I've not that on the head, and I'm available on Threads as well. FATSCOTTIE. You can find me, come have a chat.
Lovely talking to you. Lovely presenting with you. Russ and Co. will see you Friday. Good afternoon.